Hey y'all welcome. We're gonna open this thing up with Christina Flores's testimony. But first of all, we can actually just say House Bill 1322 has been tabled. However, we have to make sure that it's not being added to other bills. And also, if yeah, we gotta watch that.
Yeah, make sure that shit's actually murdered. We may have murdered it, y'all.
So here we go. Let's go ahead and hear her testimony. She has a dynamite testimony, and y'all check it out.
Committee, thank you so much for your time today. So I just was able to look over the substitutions, and while I had something else to say, I'm deeply concerned about the substitutions. While there were already some unintended consequences for business owners, farmers, and medical patients, we've now lumped in several categories. And I'd like to say exactly what was said earlier. This takes a sledgehammer to the industry. We really want to be mindful of this language and really look at the packaging limits. I believe that if we put this bill through, we are going to greatly put Georgia behind when it comes to hemp business. We are all for sensible policy. I am a mother myself. I don't want my child eating gummies, but that's also something that I take care of at home. We need to make sure that education is happening in the home, the same way we require education for alcohol consumption in our home. It's on the parents to ensure that we are taking care of our children and keeping them safe. So I say that it is very important that we look at the language in this bill again before we pass it through. I completely oppose it. It is not ready to go to the public. There are too many unintended consequences.
All right. At that moment, how are you feeling?
Oh, I was nervous as hell because I had written a speech that I was going to go by, and then I walk in and I realized that now I'm rapid responding to the additions of Delta 8, Delta 10, and Delta 11 to this hemp bill that already had so many unintended consequences. I was sweating, y'all. I heard it in my own voice. I thought I was shaking. It didn't sound like it there, but I was shaking because I was like, this is crazy. Now I have to make a point that I didn't. I like preparation. I like to write things down, and I had to just come off the cuff with that.
And she did that.
You know why she did that?
However, this is just the beginning. Let's wait to the next.
Yes.
There's more.
There's more.
Let's see. Let's get it back. All right. That's me.
So it seems like you're saying your industry doesn't survive unless you can sell these products that have more than 0.3% of
No,
THC.
that's not what I'm saying at all.
You're wanting to be able to sell the Delta 8, Delta 10, Delta 11 to get around the Delta 9 ban.
Let me be clear. I actually don't sell products. I represent patients. I'm a patient advocate. And so
This isn't the medical marijuana we're talking about today. This is the hemp consumables.
Yes. Okay. Well, I do want to be clear that I do not sell them, but I do represent several people within my community who do sell them and have taken great issue with this. We want to make sure that we are selling safe products on the market, but not restricting so heavily what is happening here. I think that we need more experts.
Okay, I don't know whether or not if we're buffering, are we talking? Are we frozen?
No, we might be frozen.
Are we frozen? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, it's still ticking. I think it's going to heat back up. Let me turn on my hotspot.
On this bill, it is not ready to go. Okay. And I urge that we do not vote yes on this bill today.
Should we continue to allow the sale of these hemp products then until we figure it out? Or should we just ban the sale till we can find some comfortable levels that we can protect the safety of our children?
I absolutely don't think that we should ban the sale. I think that it works in opposition to what we're even trying to do here. We want a thriving hemp market. Business is very important in Georgia. We need to get it right, but we don't need to be extreme in our attempt.
Okay.
So what were you thinking at that moment?
I didn't know I was going to be asked questions.
But you know what? It's great that you were well versed and well prepared. And I do believe that it was a higher power that was around you, circling you. Mm-hmm. Because, and plus, we're grateful to Senator Summers.
Yes.
Oh my God, he is wonderful.
He really held it down. Y'all couldn't see what I was looking at, but Senator Summers was sitting right next to the chairman, and he was at his wit's end. I swear to God, if you look close enough, he was ripping his hair out. He was shaking his head no. And also, I'll be very honest, like looking across the aisle and seeing that I had somebody on my team, even if we have divergent viewpoints, and I'm sure that all of our policies do not align. And that's not what I'm attempting to say here today. But what I am trying to say is that seeing that I had visual support across the aisle was very empowering, because, you'll hear the rest of the questioning. His questioning is
just the beginning.
Yeah, it's just this is just the beginning of the conversation. And the chairman lacks education around what cannabis is. He lacks education about understanding that these CBD and hemp-derived products are used for medical patients, that medical marijuana and hemp products, they both contain THC that is a life force for people who are relying on nutraceuticals as medication. Pharmaceuticals can be very dangerous and come with a hefty, long list of side effects that impact a person's health, where it's like you solve one thing, you give them 10 other issues. Cannabis, exactly. You don't experience the same thing in cannabis. I don't want to be so as extreme as to say that cannabis has no risk, because cannabis isn't for every person's body. It is for those that it's right for. And that's a conversation you have with your intuition as well as your medical providers when they're even educated on that. So what I was feeling is I'm being questioned by somebody who's not the expert, whose only job is to kind of push his own personal policy along with those around him. So the questioning, I'll tell you, your girl was, but you know what? I got what I wanted, which was the opportunity to practice my skills in high stakes scenarios and in situations where, it is a life or death situation. We watched this bill get tabled, which they table bills and they die when they've been tabled. So we don't know if this bill has actually necessarily died or will just, be resurrected in other bills. But, this was a big victory to see that it died because of all of the back and forth. I was one of several public testimonies that were speaking in opposition to this bill because it doesn't make sense. And once they added Delta 8 and Delta 10,
it's like, why?
Y'all getting crazy.
Just why?
Yes.
All they're gonna do is just create another Delta 29. Did I say Delta?
Another Delta 29.
Oh my God! Did I have a Medea moment? Okay. So
thank you very much.
Now I get it, but they don't realize. And my biggest thing is they don't want to have to need this.
Mm-hmm.
They can't really relate because they haven't experienced what a lot of our patients have experienced. Number one. Number two, they probably have that DARE campaign that's embedded in their head.
Right.
Number three, I'm at number three.
Mm-hmm.
Number three, we really and truly have to look at who's pretty much sponsoring them. But we just want to make sure that you all stay encouraged and just know that we're just everyday people.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do things, you can make changes yourself. By interacting with our legislators, you can do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You should do it. I mean,
this was a real victory.
Yeah, but it's like, okay, we can keep moving. But as you know, what's still in my head, all the other bills. I mean,
yes.
we can't sit still until the 29th.
Right.
And sign or die. And when that happens, then, we might but a lot of these bills might still be alive that don't cross over, that pass the committee and stuff like that. So we don't know the ins and outs and everything. Like, hey, this is a learning lesson for us too, because last year when we testified, or I used to go up there and testify before we had our action team coordinator and other advocates to come out to testify. This was a learning experience. So, we got our feet wet a little bit last year.
Mm-hmm.
And, now we're up to our ankles.
Yeah.
So eventually, we're going to be deep diving and swimming in legislation.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that we didn't think we were going to get into. However, due to going down to the Capitol, testifying and realizing, wait a minute, you're looking around and you're by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Aviva Vuvuzela.
You did that.
Yes. Aviva sings. If you all have not subscribed to her YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe to her USA Hemp Revival. I think, yeah, USA Hemp Revival on YouTube. You can get all the information. Make sure you connect with her, get on her mailing list, go to the website and sign up, because she gives you information like this. We signed up, and like, if it's some bills that we may have missed, she'll, hey, look, here's a bill. Make sure you check her out. So, but anyway, we're going to go ahead and get ready to finish this up. I'm sorry.
When the original sort of Farm Act came along and allowed hemp, there was all this emphasis on rope and clothing and everything else. It seems to me that the only viable hemp industry right now is to make consumable products that contain THC.
I think that is inaccurate. There are several apparel brands that rely on hemp to create sustainable. Environmentalists are very hell-bent on hemp products. So I would say that that's an inaccuracy. This is a growing and thriving market, and it could be growing and thriving here in Georgia as well. But it is inaccurate to say that we aren't using it for apparel and other.
So it can be thriving and growing here as long as we allow Delta 8, Delta 10, and Delta 11 in the products.
Yes, and I believe that it is important.
So THC containing isomers.
THC, I think, is a very important part of the whole plant medicine. And I know that we have two different categories here in Georgia of medical marijuana and hemp-derived Delta-8 products. But we need to know that THC is a healing element. So it is not just people purchasing it to get high or to use it for recreational purposes. It is also used medicinally. It is sold here in Georgia.
I know we got a whole commission that handles that.
Yes. So I just want to make sure, because we are lumping so many categories into one bill, we're now crossing territories, and we need to slow down, have a conversation, and be clear on these categories.
Okay. Thank you. Catherine Russell from the Department of Agriculture.